I'm going to share. How do I share this? Invite. Copy invite link. Okay. All right. Almost there, guys. Gee Louise. Old password. Okay. Of course, I don't know how to get my own password on here. So crazy. All right, I promise you I'm gonna get this going. I was like, I just want to get this logged in here. Okay, so for some reason, every single thing I do is not working. Okay, so I'm going to put a link in the comments and it's going to let you click it, log into the Zoom and watch it. If you can't make this live video, it's okay. I will post the replay in a little while. The only thing I can think of is doing it this way. All right, so give me a couple seconds here. Okay. I feel like all of my stuff got logged out of. It's just frustrating. Okay. All right, wait for the link 1 second. Copy link. Paste. Okay, the link's in the comments. I'm on the live video on Zoom. So once you click there, I'll see you jump in and then I'll stop the recording on Facebook. Hopefully it's good on Zoom. I don't know what else to say. I don't know why it's working that way. All right. Okay. Hi, Jennifer. She's joining in. Cool. I'm so excited that people are ready to get going on their work. Okay. Hi, Frank and Patsy Garcia. I'm assuming this is Miss Patsy. I don't know. Everyone was saying that the video was very, very cutting in and out. So I put a Zoom link in the comments right above where you joined in. So if you want to click that link and then join in the Zoom call, I would be happy to have you over there. If you can't watch, then you can get the recording later when I put it in this group. So sorry. I don't know why it's been junky on my cell phone today. Okay, so Shirley, Jennifer, can you guys hear me okay? I mean, is it any better? A lot better? Hi, Shirley. Wow, I haven't seen you in so long. You look great. Hopefully you're doing well. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just go over the sections in here in this little booklet. I know you can't see it very well. The main point of getting an introduction is because in the booklet, in our textbook, our exam book, it talks about having to explain the history of it. So how well does the candidate discuss the history and origin of raindrop technique, including who originated it, who developed it, and who named it, which books explain it, and why it's called Raindrop. So that goes into perfect detail into these first 5 or 6 paragraphs of your essential oil pocket reference book. This is a requirement for the care class. And now Life Science Publishing doesn't sell them in the same way that it looks right here. They're actually called the like the travel book. I will get a link that will tell you exactly what book to grab. I'm going to go actually order some today. I know Jennifer said she tried ordering some, or she looked at the website. They changed it all because they had to be a little bit more FDA compliant, which of course is frustrating because it takes out some information that we need. But in reality, we still have that book available. It just doesn't look the same. So the development is done by D. Gary Young. He found information from the Lakota Indians. He learned about the effleurage through different massage schools, especially with Lakota Indians as well. And then David Stewart was the one that talks about the statistical validation. So that's the next question. How well does the candidate explain the general, oh, sorry. That was one of the books that explains it. And then why it's called Raindrop is in that first very couple paragraphs where it says you just drop it on the back. So for me, when I was going through my exam, I was overthinking the questions, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm getting really nervous. I don't know what to say. I don't even know if I'm answering these properly. And then a lot of the questions on this test are the exact same for the Raindrop exam, or the whole final exam that you take if you want to become an instructor. So typically what I do is I give people access to the test. It's available on the website. And then I say, if you need help going through the questions, I can see if you're on the right track or not. I can't give you the answers, but if you put in the work, I can help you check your answers. So just don't overthink it. The questions are a lot easier than you think. Why is it called Raindrop? Literally because we drop it onto the back like rain. And that's it. That's all. I was way overthinking it. Rain provides energy, rain, all these different things I was trying to make sense of. No, it's just because we drop it on the back. Okay. It says, why do we drop it 6 to 8 inches above the back? That's because it goes through our bioelectric zone, like our energy space, our aura. And that helps the oils change to what we actually need or what our client needs. Okay, that's number 4. Then number 5, how well do they discuss the oils used in Raindrop technique? So at that point, you can have this open and you can discuss every single oil from this desk reference book. Or you could simply go to the front page. And what I typically do is I tell my students to do the introduction, tell me which oils they use, and then say, I always say right at the bottom, during exam, talk more in depth about these oils while you're VitaFlexing the feet, okay? Because when you're VitaFlexing the feet, you're standing there for maybe 3 minutes per oil, VitaFlexing those feet. And that's time where you might be silent. When I'm doing Raindrop, I'm silently praying for them. But in the exam, that's when you could actually talk about these oils that you're using. And it would be a really, really good time to be able to slow yourself down, collect yourself. The VitaFlexing portion should take you between 20 and 30 minutes of the whole Raindrop. And that's a perfect time to discuss those oils. So you don't have to add it on to that introduction time in the beginning. So that's a really good little time saver. Okay. You have to mention all of the blends. So don't forget to mention Aromaseas, Valor, Ortho Ease, and then the V6 oil. We want to know why we use all of those, why it comes in the Raindrop kit. We don't discuss, a lot of people have asked me, do I need to discuss White Angelica? It's not in the official Raindrop notes, but we know that a lot of people use, including myself at classes, we use the White Angelica beforehand to protect ourselves, protect our energy, protect our clients. You are welcome to address that. And that's a great thing to say. That's added information for me to know that you are on the right track with being a good energy exchanger. It's not graded upon. So if you don't remember it, or if you don't have White Angelica, maybe you just use Valor on your top of your head and Valor on your shoulders. However, you need to practice energy protection. Okay, then the next page of the notes. So we haven't even touched the notes really. We've used primarily the desk reference. You talk about this very briefly until you get to the VitaFlexing. And then page 2 goes into the detailed, but we don't need that yet. We need the 11 points to mention, and we need to talk about the the informed consent, because before someone gets on your table, you want them to know what they're getting into. So what I actually do in my practice is I email my clients the 11 points to mention, and that's a file in this group. You can grab that and download it. But in your exam, you need to talk about this before you begin. So there's a portion in here in the notes on page 7, 11 points to mention as a prelude to raindrop technique. So what I would recommend, highly recommend, is reading through this and rewriting it on a piece of notebook paper so that when you're in your exam, you know what that number is about. Okay, number 1 purpose of raindrop technique is to stimulate every organ, muscle, bone, tissue of the body at a cellular level through the oils, supporting the immune system. Sometimes when you're just reading word for word, it gets overwhelming because you might not remember what it says, or you might not know the word perfectly. So practice it by putting it into your own words. And then if you want to summarize what each section is, you can. If you feel like you don't want to talk that much, or if you feel like you're saying too much, or if you're getting tongue tied, you can basically say, okay, raindrop is a complete modality in and of itself. You can read that whole thing, or you could say, we don't add in any techniques. We don't add in any massage, chiropractic. We don't add acupuncture. We don't add hot stones. We don't add anything extra in regular raindrop, because we just want raindrop to work on its own. It takes 7 to 10 days to work. So that is something that will help you become more comfortable talking a lot to your clients. And then when you have clients, you're going to know, okay, I have to make sure I explain these 11 things to them, and it will take less time before your clients come. So don't forget to say that. And then in the handbook, it says, how do they discuss the statistical validation? This is another way you can give informed consent. So you can say, talk about David Stewart. A little snippet of his work is on 195 of this little book, if you have the older version. But it talks about it right in the desk reference. It says David Stewart created this book in a response to a lot of criticism. And what he did was he questioned and gave a survey to over 400 different practitioners. And he asked, what were your benefits and what were your outcomes for giving raindrop? So over 14,000 raindrop responses were recorded in here, and then percentages were made. And I believe the percentage is 99.8 or 98% said that they had a good outcome, and 99.9% said they would have it again. So that when you are telling your clients who are confused or concerned, or maybe they don't know why, maybe they think it's new age to use oils on their skin. This would be like this would be sharing that, these are from God, and a lot of people, 99%, have really great outcomes from this practice, including pain relief, relaxation, and stress relief. So those are some things that you can say when you go over this book. It also has in the background an index of conditions. So if you don't have this book yet, this is a great way to start educating your clientele or educating your friends and family based on different things. So there's 10 different condition reports about back pain. So if you have someone who has back pain, this is going to be amazing for them, but they need to know the details. So I always let my clients take a peek at this. You can't say, oh, here, look at all these responses, but you can say in the back, you might find some information you like. Okay. And then finally, the next question says you have to go over the informed consent form. Now, this is one of the things that a lot of people have trouble understanding what to do with it. It's on page 13 of your blue notes, and you need to take this page and you need to rewrite it in a Word document on your computer, and you need to put your name in, and everywhere it says, I am a board certified raindrop specialist, you need to say, I am a certified raindrop technique specialist in training. You have to have it in training for all your practices. Once you're certified, you change it and you are licensed and you're good to go. You can even put your license number in there. But until then, you have to say that you are in training. When you read this out loud to me, I'll be looking where if you want to bring your copy of your own, there we go. When you are reading this out loud to me, if you want to bring your own copy and read it in the exam, it's a perfect way to show that you have been doing the right thing for your informed consent. As a student, you are covered under care for 2 years, and you get that little student card. And every time you retake your classes, if you run out of time, you're regaining more time, okay? CARE does this through their own private education association. So you are covered as a student, just like a massage student has to go and do massages over the weekend and practice their technique. They get paid, but it's for being a student. So that's why our prices are different, and it's always as a donation. Okay. Does anyone have any questions so far? I'm going to let you guys ask questions really quickly because this was a lot, this informed consent portion. Let me see here. Everyone doing okay? Making sense? I'm gonna move this over here in case it's recording on my Facebook. Okay, if we have no questions, I'll keep going. So the next portion of it is, okay, how do they go over the hand, foot, and spine charts? Now, if you remember from last week, we already did that in VitaFlex. What I'm telling you now is you have to acknowledge them again. You have to say, this is the spinal chart, this is the hand chart, this is the foot chart, but you do not have to go over every single thing again because you've already done that in VitaFlex. Now, if for some reason in VitaFlex you didn't feel confident or you didn't go through it enough, or maybe I noticed that you missed some things, I will ask you to please go over that again. I'll say, okay, remind me where the spinal points are. Remind me where the liver is on the foot. And I've done this before just to make sure that that client or that student knows they can just go back and look at their notes. It's not going to be challenging to go look at the notes and make sure that they have that detailed information in their brain. So what I do is I say, okay, now we already learned this in VitaFlex, but if you look here, you can see that the spinal points of the spine are on the interior sole of the foot. It's on the bottom of the foot, up, down, up through the middle, from the base to the top of the toe. That is where we're going to start our VitaFlexing, and that's where we're going to work on the feet. And that's basically all I say about that foot chart. And then I say, if a person doesn't have feet and you want to give them a raindrop, or maybe they are very sensitive on their feet and they will not let you touch their feet, then you can always VitaFlex the spinal portion on the hand, and it's right here. That's why they offer that hand chart in there. Because sometimes I have actually worked on an amputee, and I've done VitaFlexing on the knee portion because they asked because they had phantom pain. But then I've also done a lot of work on their hands, and it works out very well because it still stimulates the spine. And the whole purpose of doing VitaFlex on the feet first is to prepare the spine. It's getting the spine excited and ready. The nerves are getting going. The nerves are unblocking before we put those oils directly on the spine and getting them in there to clean them out. You also will mention the spinal points of the chart, this chart of the spinal points. And this is something that you can discuss in more depth when you are actually working on the back. You can talk about what you see throughout the entire section. I love pointing out when they're having redness. I don't ever say, oh, you have something going on with your heart. I said, you have redness in your thoracic spine. A lot of times clients want to have their backs taken a picture of so that they can see that detox reaction. And that's a great way to do that as well. Not during your exam though. Okay, and then we have question section C, preliminaries preceding the raindrop, okay? So does the client explain who the facilitator and the receiver are? So the client is the person receiving, the facilitator is the one doing the work. How well does the applicant evaluate the client? So on your, now you're ready to go into the longer detailed outline on page 2. It tells you all of the preliminaries right on page 2. And it tells you the thing about the receiver. You just want to read it word for word. Okay, so it has a note on top the very first thing right up here. Then it goes into preliminaries, just read it out loud. If it says to do something, do that in the exam. Then you go to step 1, evaluation, preparation, and permission. The first thing you do before you get them on the table, and just like in VitaFlex exam, you're gonna wanna let your person that you bring to your exam sit down while you're explaining. Don't make them lay on the bed. Don't make them get up there and get naked and, take off their shirt and unrobe and do, all the things. Just let them sit until you're ready to measure them, because that will take a lot of stress off of you and it won't make you feel like you have to hurry, okay? Measure the heights. A lot of people forget this part, but it's not essential in your raindrop practice. So if you forget it later on, fine. But if you forget it in the exam, it will kind of minimize the result that you get and showing people what happens. So David always measured people. Gary measured people to prove it to them that their spine was actually doing something. And I have had some extreme changes in my spinal length based on raindrop, and even pregnant, being super huge pregnant, like nine months pregnant, having a raindrop, and my back would straighten out a couple of inches because of how torqued it was from having a huge belly. So I'm going to show you guys what you do to measure. Maybe you've forgotten. So move this one over as well. Okay, so I always have some sort of paper. I have tape. I use masking tape so it doesn't rip the paint off the wall. And then I have a box, and it has to be a box that has a long edge so you can put it above their head. So remember, when you measure people, you want the paper to stay flat on the wall. So you want to tape it on the top and bottom. Okay. Top portion, you straighten it down. Get another piece, flatten it all the way, and do it again. You have your person come up here to the wall, and then you have their heels go all the way back to the wall as well. I know you can't see me pointing, but I'm pointing down the ground. And then on the top of their head, you're going to take the box and go all the way down until that box hits the top of their head. Then you're going to mark where that is. Okay, that's their before. And then after they're done, you do it again. Okay, so it's a lot simpler. It's very simple. It's just one of those things that's very easy to forget. Okay. All right. I know we're kind of going through a lot of this today, but the raindrop portion, I feel like might be something that you very easily get overwhelmed in or go very quickly in because you are familiar with it. The VitaFlex is something that you're going to have to slow down in. You might take more time in VitaFlex than raindrop. Okay. Talk about special circumstances. Don't forget that for MS, paralysis, leg, foot amputee. And then do they ask about allergies, sensitivities, toxicity, all of that? Proper draping. So when you have your client come, make sure that they wear a sweater or something that they can put on backwards, because you don't want them to be feeling immodest, especially since I'm going to be watching the exam. Just make sure that you teach them how to properly dress. And then when they're on their back, make sure they're covered up. And then when they're on their stomach, make sure their sides are covered up still in their shoulders. Okay. So then the performance of the raindrop technique. I'm not going to go through all of these details because I'm sure that you have gone through this before, but I will tell you that on Friday, I have a class and I'm going to live stream the entire raindrop. I'm hoping that it's going to be good. I may end up just recording it and posting it later if I have the connection issue, but it seems like the Zoom is doing better than my live video. So I like that. I like that already. I'm glad that it's working. But you're going to just follow step 2 all the way to the end. And that is something where if you guys have questions on a technique, and asking those questions ahead of time. So I'll put in a post tomorrow, like what is the hardest part in raindrop for you? And I will I will make sure I address that on Friday when I go through it. And then same thing for VitaFlex. I know VitaFlex is last week. I totally got overwhelmed with our homeschool program that started again, and I was behind. So I'm going to post all the videos for the VitaFlexing this week as well, and I'll put it under the VitaFlex section. But if you have a specific technique that's very, very hard for you to remember, please let me know so that I can make sure to tag you in those so that you can prepare very well. The main thing about going through Raindrop is just to go slow enough so that your tester, that the person that you come to see for the testing, can see the entire technique, okay? You might be very fast at working at things in your own practice or in your practice sessions, but when you come for a test, I wanna be able to see you doing the 3 inches, the 6 inches, the 12 inches. I want to see those finger circles nice and slow. If you go very quickly, I can't really tell if you're pulling the muscle or if you're just jiggling the fat, you know what I mean? So when you go very intentionally and very slowly, the first time through, that means I can just check you off. I know that you're good. Sometimes I even say, okay, you did a good job. You don't have to finish up that portion because I can see that you're doing it. And a lot of times for the VitaFlexing, you are nervous before you VitaFlex, but then you start to calm down because you've just had all 9 raindrop oils and you feel a lot better. So then you're like, okay, I can go faster. I can speed it up. You do not need to speed it up. And I always tell people about the timing. It's 4 hours that you're paying for to come and work with me and take this exam. If it goes over, you are not going to be kicked out. I'm not going to say, oh, your time's done, you have to stop. I always tell people if it takes you longer because you're nervous, you're worked up, maybe you have test anxiety, then tell me because I will help you through this. If you are prepared, if you're ready to go and you want to pass this and you have actually done the work and you've actually prepared, I will help you pass, okay? I'm not going to have you fail. There are some instances where I've had people fail because they told me during the exam that they never even practiced portions of this work. And that to me is just an integrity issue. We have to practice VitaFlexing 10 times before we come to the exam because we want to make sure that you've done all 13 techniques 10 times. Same thing with Raindrop. You practice 15 times to be sure that you're confident enough to say, okay, I can do this. I'm ready to go in front of a person. I'm ready to test out. It's equivalent to doing like 30 to 40 hours of work in Raindrop and 20 hours of work in VitaFlexing. And when you go to massage therapy school, you have to do a lot more than that, but there's a lot more, I think, techniques that you have to learn. But this is not an easy thing. This isn't something that you can do in a week. It takes a good, 4 to 6 weeks to get all this stuff done if you're really consistent and don't have like a full-time job. It might take other people a year to get all of it done because they have a full-time job and kids and a bunch of other stuff. So please know that I've been praying for you guys so much. This group has just blessed me beyond belief because my mission in life is to help people live in a world where they know that they're anchored in Christ. They know that they have a purpose on this earth, and that purpose is meant to serve like Jesus. And not everybody is on this earth to serve, or they serve in different ways. But when you're a hands-on physical type of person and you serve from that place, we just have a different energy about us. We have a different intuition about us. When you put hands on someone and you can instantly feel their pain and suffering, and you're like, I want to help that pain and suffering, that's an exchange through the spirit. And that's a gift of the spirit, is just empathizing with people. So I can't do it alone. I need more people. Care needs more people. The world needs more people that have this anchored in Christ trust that God can do all things. God can heal all hurts and pains and sufferings. And I'm just so proud that you guys are a part of that journey. So the last thing I want to go through is just the final touches of it. I get really emotional because this is just, it's changed my life. Becoming a Raindrop technique specialist 7 years ago changed my life. And I've never went back to a different way. It's just gotten better and better. So at the very end of your exam, I will answer some follow-up questions. I will ask you if you have anything that you might have forgotten that you want to add in. I'll ask you maybe some things that you might have missed, and I'm just going to go back in and add in there. And I'll also kind of evaluate on your willingness to be a learner. Maybe I critique you and I say, hey, you forgot this. Can you add it in? Or, hey, do you remember this? Can you add that back in? A lot of times people are very receptive, but sometimes people say, oh, I didn't forget that. I already did that. Just remember to be really, really humble. If I didn't see it, I'm so sorry. If you did it and you know that you did it and I didn't see it, just help me to remind me, just show me again. Because sometimes there's a lot of things I have to write down and I miss a portion. I only want to do this for your best outcome, and that's to get you to pass this. And then finally, I will evaluate you on your presentation. So are you wearing presentable clothing? Do you have like grooming done, hygiene properly taken care of? All these questions are at the very end as well. Do they present themselves as a respectable, professional manner, in good taste and appropriate as an instructor before a group of students in a care class? Now, this is cool because earlier this year, they allowed us to start passing students in a return demo if we thought that they could become a facilitator, but they could not become an instructor. So sometimes students will be really good at the technique, but they may not have that special touch to become an instructor yet. And if that's the case, then I will write that in there. And I would say, maybe after some more practice, more time in front of people. I've never had a situation like that yet. But that was something new this summer that they decided, because some people simply never want to go on to become a teacher. They only want to become a facilitator, and that's okay. But if you ever wanted to go back and become a teacher, you'll have to retake the exam again. I just thought I would let you guys know because that was new this year. And then I always talk about the strongest points, the weakest points. What did you do well? What needs critique? Did you ever become defensive? Were you uninformed? Did you try to bluff it? Were you articulate? Were you knowledgeable? Were you humble? Were you hesitant? How did the applicant do in performing the raindrop technique? Suggests improvements. And then finally, attitude. Attitude is huge for me. And it's huge for David too. If you have an issue with attitude, it's a spiritual issue. And sometimes there are times where I've had clients where they've not been able to just humbly say, no, I need help. And that's hard, because if you're in a situation where you're not doing the right thing for your client, you could harm them because these oils are strong. And maybe they have a back issue. Like Shirley, she has, you have stuff in your back, the metal. And if that client doesn't remember and they're not humble enough to say, oh, what would I do if a client has metal in their back and they're pushing too hard or they're jostling them too much or whatever, that is an issue and that needs to be looked at. And if you're receptive to that, that's great. But I've had people that are not receptive, and then it becomes where I can't pass them because they feel they aren't willing to receive constructive criticism that will bring them to the next level. They would rather just stay in the knowing that they're at. So I know this is a long video. If anyone has any questions, you can personally message me. You can post it in the group. This will become a recording in the group as well. I know that this week is going to be hard on me because I'm preparing for this class and my husband's working multiple extra shifts. But if there's a time where you're like looking to get a date set, please send me those in a message and just send me 3 or 4 messages or 3 or 4 dates that you want to pick from. And I will then get back to you with the time frames. I've had a lot of people message me about booking their exam between that February 15th and April 15th. And I'm happy to do that. If I don't respond right away this week, it's just because I have this care class coming up and it's a lot of preparation work with no support. I mean, not support, but no husband to help with the kids. So I'm grateful for all of you. And I know that you're going to be doing lots of good things. I can unmute you all and you can ask any questions if you have any. How's everyone else doing? How are you, Shirley? How are you, Miss Patsy? How are you, Jennifer? You're welcome to unmute. Good, everyone good? Okay. Well, if no questions or anything, I will just, how are you, Shirley? I saw it unmuted. You're good? How's everything been going with your work? I know that you're a massage therapist, so do you do Raindrop right now already?
Oh yeah.
And that's
people ask for it.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Well, I've had people come in for a regular massage and I've got the Raindrop kit sitting out and they're like, well, nobody told me you did Raindrop, so I need a Raindrop. So,
Yeah. And
because
it's
I don't do a lot of advertising other than word of mouth. So that's, yeah. So, yeah.
and that's good. And that's kind of a safe space to stay in. As a massage therapist, you and Jennifer on here actually are both massage therapists. And because we're in the state of Indiana, you are allowed to use hot stones without an extra license. You're allowed to use aromatherapy without an extra thing. But advertising, you can't advertise until you're licensed. So as soon as you get that certification, you're good to go. You'll have your name on that care website and tons of people will be calling you. You'll be so busy. It'll be awesome. So I'm happy for you guys. And Miss Patsy, I've never met you before. Can you unmute and share a little bit?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No? Okay. I'm from Victoria, Texas.
Awesome.
And I just need to finish up and try to test out. And I really appreciate everything you're doing for us.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's worth the time. So I definitely feel like this is a mission and it's part of God's kingdom for me. This is my ministry. I'm not in the church doing a lot of stuff, but I'm definitely on the ground doing it.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. And who's your mentor?
Rhonda, it's Rhonda Allen, but she just got married.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't remember her last name, her new last name, but yeah, she's helped me a lot too.
Good. And she's close by, so you'll be able to test with her, which is good.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Well, if you ever need anything, just let me know.
I appreciate you.
Of course. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jennifer, anything going on? Do you need any support? Anything I can pray for?
No, I think I'm doing pretty good.
Good. That's awesome. Well, I hope that you have a wonderful week. And if there's anything as things going through, let me know. How did the girls' play go?
It went really good. It
Good.
did.
Good. Happy to hear
It was
that.
emotional for Hannah just because it's her last one, but
Oh, I'm sure she's having a hard time with that, but don't they have she'll be in high school next year, right?
well, she's in high school, but
Oh,
because
okay.
of all the COVID stuff, they Becky allowed her to be in this one.
Awesome. But they have like a drama department too in high school, right? So she gets
Yes.
still do work.
We had over 900 people that came through this weekend.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
They
so
did.
great.
Yeah. It was nice.
Good.
I would like to get with you and set up an appointment for a Raindrop.
Okay, yeah, let me know. What are your days? Do you have any good days? Fridays, you said?
Yeah, usually Fridays work well for me.
Okay, very cool. Fridays are good. I have my nanny. Not this Friday because I will be teaching, but next Friday might work if that works for you.
Okay, yeah, I think it will.
Alrighty, have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining.
You too, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.